Hi everyone, it's Lou Collins. Welcome to the CraftStash YouTube channel. Today I've got a quick craft tip for you. If you use embossing folders a lot, I'm going to show you how to only emboss part of the image or part of your card. So the first thing we're going to do is look at part of the card base. Now with a card base, I always recommend you open the card up before you put it into the folder, and this avoids then embossing the back. It actually gives a much neater finish. Now if you want to emboss the entire image, you can always fold the back of your card over to the back of the folder as you run it through the machine. But if you only want to emboss part of the image, you can simply capture the folder onto the part of the card that you'd like to emboss. So for example, I want to only emboss, if I hold this way, the bottom 2/3 of my card. So I'm going to make this central, just like so, and squeeze that together with the rest of the card overlapping the folder, and I'm going to run that through my machine. For an even better impression, it's always a good idea to pop a rubber mat into your sandwich if you can work out the correct sandwich to add that in. That goes just under the folder and gives it a little extra flexibility for the folder to capture all the details whilst embossing. And there's my partially embossed card base. I haven't even got anything on the back, so that's nice and smooth as well. I can pop a piece of ribbon or twine over the line there if I wish, or just simply stamp a sentiment for a really contemporary card. Now, what if I wanted to emboss just part of this image, say right in the middle of the card? Now that's a little more complicated, but it can be done as long as you just scavenge around in your scraps. So what you need to find is a piece of board. Now I've actually got the back of an A4 paper pack, so the chipboard or the cardboard that's on the back of that, and you need to ensure that it is the same thickness as one of your die cutting plates. Okay, doesn't really matter which one. I usually go for the thinnest because it's easier. Within my sandwich I tend to have this plate, the rubber mat, and then the clear plate all on top of the big base plate. Yours may be slightly different depending on your machine, but also depending on your embossing folders. So this piece of board that I've cut out is the shape and size of the panel that I'd like to emboss into my card front. So I'm going to take out this part of my die cutting sandwich because this board is going to replace that. I'm going to put my card into the embossing folder in the same way as I would if I was embossing it normally. Then I'm going to place my board either on top or underneath your folder in the place where you want the embossing to be. Now, I always think it's a good idea to tack this down. There we go, so that's on my folder now. So I'm going to place this back into my die cutting machine. I'm still going to use the rubber mat because I'd always use that. Put my clear plate on top and then run this through. Now when we lift this up, you'll see that you've got your embossing only in the centre of the card, only in that square that we picked out. Now, of course, if you want to, you can cut yourself a circle, a different shape, if you want diamond, triangle, heart, whatever it may be. Because you're cutting a thicker material, though, in general, you will need to hand cut this. So do bear that in mind. But there's two ways of partially embossing your card base. Now, as always, I would take a little bit of ink and pick out the detail on these so that they show up a little bit better, but hopefully that's given you some tips and tricks to take away and get them even more out of your embossing folders. As always, don't forget to subscribe to our CraftStash channel if you haven't already, and we think you'll also love the playlist with all the other 3-minute card making hacks just here.